This presentation looks at CVS Health through Module 5's focus on external factors, business model design, and innovation. I'm still using the same company of CVS, but this isn't just a repeat of last week. It is similar. However, last week was more about the business model itself. This week is about what outside forces are pushing CVS to redesign that model. My main argument is that CVS Care Navigator is a practical business model innovation because it responds to three real pressures: healthcare affordability, PBM, and drug cost scrutiny, and the need for responsible AI-enabled care support. So I organized this slide deck directly around the assignment sections. So first, I define external demand factors and show the three forces affecting CVS. Second, we'll connect those pressures to business model design and the business model canvas. Third, I identify the innovation challenges CVS will have to manage. Then I close with reflection and strategic leadership. This assignment isn't just about creativity, it's also about what an executive would actually do with this model. So, part one starts with external demand factors. I am defining those as outside conditions that change what customers need, what regulators expect, and what competitors pressure a company to do. For CVS, the big point is that the outside environment is not neutral. The market is pushing the company toward a model that is more transparent, more coordinated, and more careful with AI. The first force is affordability. The healthcare cost problem is not just one bad bill. The source we use argues that high American healthcare costs are tied to deeper structural issues and misaligned incentives. For CVS, that means people need help understanding their benefits, prescriptions, and care options before they become frustrated. The second force is PBM and drug cost pressure. Because CVS owns Caremark, it cannot ignore public and regulatory concern around drug pricing, rebates, spread pricing, and transparency. The third force is AI. Digital health creates a real opportunity, but in healthcare, artificial intelligence has to be handled carefully because bias, privacy, security, and patient autonomy are not small issues. Together, these forces push CVS toward a more guided, transparent, and responsible care navigation model. Strategically, these forces are pointing to the same problem. CVS already has a lot of pieces: pharmacy, Caremark, Aetna, clinics, care delivery, and digital channels. But from the customer side, healthcare can still feel very confusing. So the response should not be another random app or another generic chatbot. The response should be a business model redesign that connects existing CVS assets around the patient journey. The patient has to be centered. This is the strategic direction behind CVS's Care Navigator. Part two moves into business model design and innovation. The business model canvas gives a way to see how a company creates value, delivers that value, and captures value. The reason I like this framework for CVS is that CVS is not just a pharmacy. The canvas lets me show the system and not just one service that they provide. The business model design isn't just listing products, it's mapping how the company creates value. Osterwalder and Pigner's canvas helps that break down into 9 pieces. For this assignment, business model innovation means changing how those pieces work together. For CVS, the customer-centered question is simple: does the model make healthcare easier for the person trying to use it? If the answer is no, then the value proposition isn't clear enough. So this is the current CVS canvas at a high level. The company has major customer segments: patients, consumers, Aetna members, employers, government payers, and pharmacy clients. Its value proposition is convenience, medication access, insurance support, and connected healthcare. The resources are strong. CVS's retail footprint, Aetna, Caremark, data, pharmacists, clinicians, and digital platforms. The problem isn't that CVS lacks assets at all. The issue is that the customer may not experience those assets as one connected system. Those assets can sometimes seem fragmented, which makes the healthcare process confusing to the patient. Customer-centric design means we have to look at the model from the user side, not just the company side. A CVS customer may need care, check benefits, compare prescription costs, and figure out follow-up support. Those are connected problems, but in real life, in application, they can feel like separate tasks. So the innovation opportunity is to redesign the customer journey around clarity. The point is not just to say CVS has pharmacy and insurance and these other assets. The point is to make those pieces easier for the customer to use together. The redesigned model is CVS Care Navigator. I'm framing it as an AI-enabled navigation layer for CVS and Aetna members. It will help people understand benefits, compare medication and care options, and know when to connect with a pharmacist, clinician, or care team. I want to be very clear that artificial intelligence is not the doctor or pharmacist. The AI supports navigation and organization, while human help stays a central part of the model. That matters because the same source that supports AI innovation also shows the risk around privacy, bias, security, and patient autonomy. Humans have to be at the center of AI usage for these reasons and also for ethical reasons. This prototype changes the model by putting navigation at the center. The customer segments are Aetna and CVS members, employer clients, and patients who are trying to understand medication or care costs. The value proposition is one guided path instead of separate touch points. The channels are realistic because CVS already has apps, member portals, pharmacies, and care team relationships. The revenue logic is not charging confused patients just to understand their care. It is creating value for employer and plan clients through better engagement, retention, and potentially less avoidable friction. The cost side is real. CVS will have to pay for AI governance, privacy, training, support, and integration work. So for the AI augmented scenario, I compared two different what if options. The first was, what if CVS connected benefits, pharmacy, and care support into one navigation layer? The second was, what if CVS made navigation a separate paid subscription? I chose the first scenario because it fits the CVS ecosystem better and it's less risky ethically, and it centers the consumer and the patient. A separate subscription could make it look like people have to pay extra just to understand healthcare. That would go against the trust and affordability problem that this model is supposed to solve. So part 3 is about innovation challenges. This is where I don't want to really oversell the idea, but CVS Care Navigator has strategic potential, but it would also create real implementation challenges. A company this large cannot just plug in AI and call it innovation. There has to be a full rollout. The first challenge is privacy, bias, and autonomy, which we've already discussed. Healthcare AI has to be governed differently from normal customer service tools. CVS would need consent-based design, bias checks, data security, and human escalation. It's extremely important that for this model, a patient is always able to reach a human. The second challenge is internal silos. CVS has the pieces, but the model only works if Aetna, Caremark, pharmacy, and care teams are working from shared goals and communicating those goals. The third challenge is trust and adoption. Even a good idea can fail if customers do not use it. So CVS should pilot the model with a specific member group, measure whether it actually helps, and revise before rolling it out on a large scale. From a strategic leadership perspective, a senior executive should not look at this model as a tech project only. It is a long-term strategic renewal project. The leader will have to respond to external pressure with adaptability, but not panic. They need systems thinking because CVS's advantage is in the combination of its assets. They need ethical foresight because healthcare AI can create harm if it is not governed carefully. And they need innovation management because the right answer is not to launch it everywhere immediately. The right answer is to pilot, measure, revise, and scale only if the model is actually helping members and supporting trust. My main takeaway is that business model innovation has to be connected to the outside environment. It is not enough to come up with something that sounds modern. It has to solve a real strategic problem. For CVS, the real problem is that healthcare is expensive, complicated, and trust sensitive. AI helped me think through scenarios and organize the model, but it couldn't make the decision for me. Some AI generated ideas sounded interesting, but they were not practical, or they could have created access concerns. So the final model always needs human judgment, source checking, and a strategic fit. And these are my references.